Good morning. Good morning. All right. I am Maximus. I am here to talk about something a little bit more important. This isn't the typical dating conversation. The whole Halloween thing has passed, it's gone, it's over. So, with that being said, it's more or less back to business as usual. Now, I've been listening because I listen to a lot of different people when they speak. And I was listening to something, and something that I've always felt, good morning, is something that I've always felt near and dear to my heart. And that is about black people. Now, I want people to understand I am pro black, 150%. I love all my people of all different shades and colors, but I am a tribalist by nature first, so I do love my black people, though I do not discriminate or hate or dislike anybody because of their race, creed, or color. The reason why there is a focus on my love for black people is because we need special attention. You know, I have a son. He's only 2 inches shorter than me, and I'm 6'6", and he's only 13 years old. Now, I would like for him to grow up in a time when we could finally get past this skin pigmentation bullshit. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's really a stupid reason to be separating ourselves from each other. You know what I mean? And one thing that I have noticed as I've been kind of looking around, and I've been doing some research, just looking around the world and just in my own travels and so on and so forth. And almost everywhere that you go on this planet, black people are looked at as second class citizens. No matter how much we may have contributed to the development and betterment of said country, no matter how much we may have contributed to society as a whole, no matter how much we put into the economy, no matter how much we do everything, many of our people are soldiers in this military and will fight and die for this country in America that we are in now. And there's nothing wrong with that. But my whole thing is where the wrong is that even in the age of 2023, still being treated as second class citizens. When I look at the statistics, it is not a coincidence that if you go and you look at the statistics of how many victims there are of violent, unnecessary violence against us from law enforcement, it's lopsided when it comes to us. It's crazy. And I know this topic has been hit and hit, but it needs to keep being hit and hit. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, just because a couple of y'all got a cute little executive job and you making a couple of dollars and it's all good, understand these motherfuckers will take that shit away from you the moment you wipe your ass sideways. Because we are held to a different standard than the rest of the people are. And it's crazy because it's like, why is there so much of an effort to suppress who we are? Why do you think that it is okay that we have to work 3 times as hard and be 3 times as good as somebody else of a different race or creed or whatever just to be partially taken serious? I need you to understand that this is not something that should be acceptable. And that I feel like black people in general are far too complacent when it comes to circumstances like this. Because in a circumstance like this, it should be a simple fact of, oh, we shutting everything down. Because I mean, we run everything, we do everything. And I mean, this has to come all the way from the motherfucking core of Africa. All the different countries in Africa that we originate from. Even there's no real respect for us as a people. There's no real fair treatment for us as a people. How are we not even treated right in the country of our origin? That's crazy to me. Like, how is that acceptable? It's one thing to even look at America and say, okay, well, we were brought over here as slaves, so no surprise that we are still, hundreds of years later, pretty much not treated with the same fair shake as somebody of another race. You won't see them gunning down Chinese motherfucking kids in the middle of the street. And I'll tell you some shit. I live around a lot of them. They do crazy shit too. They be doing donuts in the middle of the street and all types of wild shit. I literally watched them do that on fucking Union Turnpike just last night. I watch a couple of them be having car chases, all types of shit. But you know what you don't hear? In the news today, unarmed Chinese male gunned down because he scratched his ass when the cops stopped him. You don't hear that. You don't hear that in the Jewish community. You never hear that from them, and they do shit too. You don't hear that from an Indian kid getting gunned down, blah, 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 blah. You don't hear that. But when it comes to the black people, here they come. And then this herding mentality. Like, they always try to corral us into these buildings. There's a strategy that they've inducted now where now they call, because they know black people like to look fancy and they like to think that they pop in. So now the thing is every building that they build up is quote unquote luxury housing. And then all the black people go flocking in there like, get me some of that luxury housing, y'all. And they do it in communities that they know we're familiar with so that they can keep us here. Because as long as they keep us here, we're not out there where the other people them is that don't necessarily want to see us. Because man, let me tell you, when my big black ass go out to some of those communities and I walk up in a store to get some food, or I'll walk up in a place because I'll be all over the place. I'm an electrician. I'll be in different places. Or even if I'm like doing delivery or something, I might be picking up in a anywhere. Or I might just be dining there because I can afford to. Whatever it is. The whole thing is at the end of the day, when they see me, the way that they buck up and they're looking like, and I'm just like, it's 2023. What? You haven't seen a black person before. Like, we have to get past this. And the reason why I call this a call to action is because I feel like, well, I mean, to be honest, we don't support each other. But we always ask each other for support. We are the number one begging ass motherfuckers on the planet to be asking somebody for support, but never wanting to give it. Even as far as something like, I have offered things for free, and motherfuckers wasn't even trying to fuck with it. And it's not like I don't produce a great product, because I know I do. It's just a matter of, because it's me. But let it be white boy Roy up there, and he's doing whatever he's doing. You're running and you're spending your money and pulling your money right out the community. And listen, if white boy Roy has the best product, then fuck it, go for it. But my point is, it don't really be about that. It just is a simple matter of fact that we have an innate like proclivity to not trust the moment we see that black face. instead of saying, "Oh yes, that's one of my people. Let me support them." Duh, 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 duh. Like I've got bitten in the ass by trying to support my own people on multiple occasions, but I've also got bitten in my ass trying to support random people that were not of my type. It's just shit that happens. The fact of the matter is, as many times as you might have bought some clothes from the store and them shits was faulty, or you bought a device and that shit was faulty, the same thing can happen to you when it comes to you buying it from one of yours. We need to create a foundation within our communities. We prioritize the wrong things. You really do. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I have this like addiction to name brand stuff. I'm always buying this label, this, that label, blah, 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 blah. I have bought things that are from, black designers or whatever, but it has to be something I actually like. So there's that part. But my whole thing is, I don't feel like we spend enough time and effort in trying to make this happen. I don't feel like there's enough of a call. Like in the United States, enough of us are not voting. A lot of us have this mentality of, oh, the voting is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. You got to understand how this country works. The way this country works is you have to fucking vote. And the reason why is every vote that you don't cast is a vote for the person that has an agenda opposite of yours. Even if you don't vote, you just voted for an agenda that opposes yours because you didn't vote for anything. That's the same thing as doing that. So every time one of y'all do that, that's literally what y'all are doing. Like a lot of you have this ignorant mentality and you're destroying us and you don't see it because you're perfectly okay with your little job and your little things that you have. But you got to understand the bigger picture because you're going to wait until, God forbid, something happens to one of your own. And then when everybody get all up in arms and galvanized over your injustice, but that's bullshit because these are things that could have been avoided had you come to arms. And nobody's talking about physical violence or nothing. There's so many different ways to make yourself heard in today's world. The number one way is by manipulating the economy. We can contribute a huge amount of money to this economy. If we start rotating this money in over and over again on our economy instead of constantly sending it out to this one, sending it out to that one. Like another thing I see in my area, live a lot in Queens. I see a lot of Korean businesses open up all over the place. That motherfuckers is enterprising as hell. I love it. Like I look at that and I just be like, damn, I just wish my black people would open businesses like how they do. Like every time I see another business shut down, they the one sliding in to go buy that motherfucker. Why we ain't got that energy? Another reason is because we don't know how to work together and build the trust so that we can get things and build things up. We too busy talking about, oh, I pay my own rent, my own car note, my own this. There ain't nothing to brag about. Who cares? Welcome to being an adult. So what? You got the wrong mentality. It's better to share a space and build yourself up so that you can purchase equity so that now you have residual incomes coming in. So now your children ain't got to do the same scraping, scratching, and scrounging as you had to. But we don't galvanize ourselves under those kind of energies. Instead, we spend our energy on looking fly for the gram. Da, da, da. Like this video probably do like 3 fucking likes. And it'll probably be the 3 people that's actually my real friends that'll like it and say, oh yes, let me give it a courtesy like. And they probably won't even listen to the whole fucking shit because that's just the way that goes. It's not exciting. You know, I talk about real life things. I don't talk about shucking and jive and goofing off and ratchet chicks talking about dumb shit all the time. I do talk about that. But, I also talk about things that will help you in your life in the future, because eventually you got to take your face out of the IGs, TikToks, and Facebook and all that shit. Eventually, you got to take your face out of it and look up and see your reality is still here. Yes, you can escape for as long as you want. You can get high, drunk, whatever. But once you come down off that high, whatever that drug is that you taking, you still look around. You still got that same reality in front of you. You still got to pay that bill, whatever bill it may be, rent, electric, all that shit is still gonna be waiting for you. Ain't no escaping it. Maybe you want to put yourself in a position to have a stronger economic footprint. So this way you can actually get a real piece of the pie instead of me constantly seeing my people talking about, oh, and I mean, this is me included. And this is why there's things I'm working to change because I'm tired of it. The first thing I say is we need to pressure the government and be like, yo, you have literally given every other single person that you've done wrong the reparations they deserve. And they did deserve those. But where the fuck is ours? Why are we still the only ones neglected? We're the only ones getting shot down the street like dogs constantly, over policed, all of that. And like I said, policing is necessary. But when I say over policed, I mean laying a heavier hand on this group in comparison to this group. And yes, a lot of them have gone bad as far as people go, which is why sometimes that policing is necessary. And the reason why is because when you treat people like animals, like I've seen the conditions of some of these buildings that they live, like a lot of black people is living in, and these buildings is disgusting. Like if I lived there, I wouldn't pay $1 of rent to the place. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there's no way in hell that I could sit there and pay money to a place where I'm dodging P streams in the elevator because somebody done pissed down the elevator. Or the thing is all nasty and dirty and infested with God knows what. Like these are basic rights to have as a human being to not live like a wild animal in the street. But people accept this shit every single day and they put their heads down and say, oh, well, you know what we gonna do. What do you mean what you gonna do? You paying your money. There's health codes involved with this shit. Hold these motherfuckers accountable because that's one thing I will give props to when it comes to these other races, is they will stand up and speak for themselves. Like you got Palestinians feel like they're wrong. They stand up for themselves. I don't agree with the violence because I ain't never with no violent shit. But if you feel like you're wrong, you stand up for yourself and you speak out about it. The same thing to Jews. If you feel like you're being wrong and something happens in your community, you have every right to stand up for it. Same right for any race. When the Asians was being targeted and attacked, they came together as a community and forced the government very quickly to pass an anti-Asian hate act. Meanwhile, those black people were still getting shot down the street. Yeah. And this is my problem. But it starts from us. We can't expect others to respect us when we don't respect us. We don't take each other seriously. We don't present ourselves. Look at the representation for ourselves, the people that you elevate. Somebody like Sexy Red that's up here acting like a stink pussy ratchet chick is elevated to this level, and chicks like her constantly elevated and lifted up into the sky. 2 million followers, and what is she even doing? I can wrap circles around that chick, and I don't even rap. What is special about her? Nothing. But she's there for whatever reason she's there, and it's just frustrating me because that is our representation constantly. That is what we allow to be elevated. If we were not supporting that content wouldn't move. But content like this, content that's uplifting, you know how many times I've posted positive things, things that are uplifting, whatever, that shit'll do like 2, 3 likes. Let me go troll the females real quick and talk about some stupid dating list or whatever. That shit's still getting comments and likes on it, and I post that shit over a week. This goes to show the things that we prioritize. And I don't want to hear, oh, it's my social media, I just come here and I'm chilling. I don't want to think about nothing serious. Oh, but God forbid something happens to your baby. And now what I'm talking about becomes relevant. You'll be on here like, yeah, yeah, we got to do this. Da-da-da-da. Oh, no, now because it affects you directly. And this is what I'm talking about. We as a people have a selfish mentality. Why the fuck somebody want to call me while I'm on goddamn stream? We as a people have a very selfish mentality, and that shit is the reason why we are constantly in struggle. We aren't going to get out of this until we pull ourselves out of this. We need to connect with our brothers and sisters across the water because those are our genetic ancestors, distant distant relatives right there. Well, I mean, technically it's everybody's, but I mean, we are direct descendants from those from Africa and in multiple different continents around, up and throughout Africa. And the thing is that Africa is the only continent that is self-sustaining. Every single other continent on this planet needs resources from another place in order to truly and fully sustain itself in today's world. Africa doesn't. That's why we got everybody, the French, the English, the this, the that, all up and through, colonized and everything, all up and through the different countries in Africa. Because our resources there are rich. That land is rich. Have you seen the way some live in those countries with all those rich resources? They aren't fucking living like somebody that has billions and billions of dollars worth of resources under their feet. And again, this is the bullshit that I'm talking about. So my whole thing is that I don't have the patience to constantly, like I'm not gonna constantly be up on here and be a little key, ha 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 type situation. I mean, listen, I understand we all want to live our lives and have fun. It's all cool. But what I'm saying is that us as a people have to understand that you will not ever get out of the overarching holes or the glass ceilings that hang over our heads. Those shits will constantly sit there as a people until we come together to work for the betterment of us as a whole, until we learn to support each other like how these other groups support each other. I'm not talking about anti this or anti that. No, we can work with them too. That's okay. But what I'm saying is we need to better ourselves and better our situation. I'm tired. You know how much it hurts me. I look sometimes and I'm just like, I gotta look and see my people living in mess and filth, sitting there, and they're just walking through it, looking very complacent about the shit. And I'm just like, how do you accept this? Like, why is this okay to you? Because there's no excuse to accept that. You have rights today, but you act like you don't. We complain about like the mayor we have in New York City now. A lot of us ain't feeling him. He's a black guy. Cause surprise, just cause you're black don't mean your skin folk means that we kin folk. And the fact of the matter is his agendas really don't align with a lot of our issues. He doesn't really do anything to help bolster our community. And this is what I'm talking about. This goes back to, and this is local government. This is where you need to pay attention the most. Yes, the president, and we all want to laugh, and Sleepy Joe is Sleepy Joe. I'd rather take a Sleepy Joe over a crazy redheaded president any day. I said what I said because that motherfucker is crazy. But I will give him props for one thing. He knows how to galvanize his people to rally behind him and get them to do all types of stupid shit. But my thing is, I wish we had a more peaceful version of that energy, but came with that same rallying energy. That's what I want for us, to rally together, to put the pressure on these politicians. They work for us, we don't work for them. They are to be held accountable to everything. If there is something that's not being done right, we are to hold them accountable to it. Why is it that I can come with the same portfolio as somebody of a different race to the bank, but I might not get approved while the other person will get approved? And we literally have the exact same credentials, same credit score, same whatever. But the only difference is I'm brown and they may not be. Why is that a separating factor? Why is that allowed? You know why that's allowed? Because we allow it. That's why. That's why I said we have to make it so they cannot deny us. That's why we need to work together. I scream about this all the time. Work together. And I talk about issues in our community as far as relationships and shit go. And I know a lot of people think it's black man versus the black woman. Also, see, y'all don't listen. And this is the problem when people have poor comprehensive skills, is they don't listen to what you're saying because people's attention spans are very short. Just like people come on this. I've only been talking for 20 something minutes. I guarantee you, people don't come, they go. Maybe they watch it, maybe they don't. It's too much for them. They could sit and watch some stupid ass show for 2 hours when it's a stupid soap opera and whatever the case may be, because that person's entertaining. They're doing, you know what I'm saying? This should be entertaining because this is food for your brain. This should be entertaining because this is something you need to share. This is something you need to let other people see. Like what I used to do when I was putting up these videos, and as soon as I was done because I wanted the YouTube views, I would take it off of my Facebook and take it off of my Facebook page. So this way, the only way you could see it if you wanted to see it was you had to go to my YouTube page and watch it. I stopped doing that because at the end of the day, I just want my message to get out there. I don't care about the vehicle anymore. The views will come how the views will come when they come. But at the end of the day, for me, it's about getting a message out there. And one thing that needs to be reiterated to the thousandth degree is we have not arrived as a people in any way, shape, or form. I don't care how many, all five, six, seven of y'all that might break through and get to higher echelon levels and do fantastic things outside of the entertainment industry. Because I'm not counting the artists as far as the singers and dancers and athletes and stuff, because we've always been used for entertainment. I'm talking about those that become physicists and engineers and all of that stuff. And I mean, yes, we are breaking into a lot of different fields and it's dope. But the one thing I want to say is we have not truly arrived as a people until we truly get the United States of America, especially. Because the United States of America sets the tone for a lot of things that happen on this planet. And we will not get that until we have reparations set up for us, because it's not even about the money. I mean, forget the fact that they destroyed so many of our wealthy communities that they literally set us back generations as far as our economic um, wealth is concerned, as far as our generational wealth was concerned. They set us back generations for all. Every time we had thriving communities, they came in and they destroyed them to keep it down, because we kept finding ways to thrive. And just because some of us bust through the cracks, there's still a lot of us being left behind. That's why there's so many of us suffering with drug addiction and everything else. They're fucking depressed and they don't know how to get out of it. And granted, some people take their reparations and use it for drugs, whatever else. So what? You know how many politicians take your tax dollars and use it for drugs and something else? Use it to pay for their mistresses and whatever else? Plenty of them do. So my whole thing is I want y'all to understand it is time for us to start off. We need to unify as a people. We need the reparations to actually happen. It doesn't need to be a conversation. It needs to be something. We put so much pressure on them that whether they're on the left or the right, they have no choice but to listen. There are plenty of people that are outside the black community that agree with what I'm saying, that agree that we are entitled to that due to the stuff that we went through historically in this country. This country has done us dirty for hundreds of years. And in some ways, we're still getting that today. There's still residual effects and active things that are in place today systemically that still hold us back. The reason why one of us unlawfully fit a description and 50 years later they let the man out of jail and give him a couple of $1 million and say sorry, but they can't give him his time back. So that man lost most of his life because y'all were prejudiced and said, oh, this black man's guilty, when come to find out it wasn't even him. That's happened on so many occasions other than the ones that's been reported on. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, I want y'all to understand this all comes back to the same thing. We need to put ourselves in a position to where we are eye to eye with our counterpart. But that means we need to elevate our position in this community. And that's not going to happen without us first coming together ourselves. Because we need to show a united front, not one of violence, not one of ignorance. Come with intelligent, educated, irrefutable conversation. And if you want to show aggression on the economic side, because the only language that matters at the end of the day, especially to the United States, is what runs that financial engine. And if we stall that motherfucker, or if we start just reinvesting in ourselves, building trust so that we can take these businesses, take these, and all of that, in this day and age, we literally could put ourselves in a position of power to really affect legit change. To where the United States finally comes out and says, just like they just now took the lynching pill off the books in, like, I don't know, 2021 or some shit. Like, it was mad late. I'll put it like this. It was after the Stop Asian Hate bill. I'm gonna let that one sink in for you. So my thing is that you need, as a people, we need to learn to galvanize ourselves under one umbrella and focus and work together. I know, this one ain't shit, that one ain't shit. There's a lot of people that ain't shit. So what? Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the ones that are looking to do something value added for the community, because there's plenty of them that are. You just got to give them a chance. Next time you want to buy something, give it a shot. Check out brother over here. See what he got to offer. It can't hurt. Make sure he has a guarantee on his product. If the shit is bullshit, you get your money back. That's all you got to do. Protect yourself. Just like you would with anything else you buy. You go to a store, you know you can bring your receipt and that thing back, and they refund you your money, or they'll do what a lot of these stores do, which is just give you a fucking credit. You know. But my whole thing is that at the end of the day, we really have to do better with working together all across the planet, because it makes no sense that no matter where black people go on this planet, we are looked at as second class citizens. Like I have a major problem with that. I don't like that shit. Like I look at these other races and I envy them. I don't hate them because they ain't do nothing to me. So if they ain't did nothing to me, I don't have nothing against them. I can't blame them for what their ancestors did. If they're still participating in that energy, then I can blame them. But if they are simply just existing just like me, and if they happen to benefit from some of the advantages that their ancestors put in place, I can't blame them for that. Because if I had those advantages, I would go for it too. But again, we have to learn to work with each other, put aside some of the petty differences, put the egos to the side and stop making sure everybody want to look like they the man. I experience that now in a business venture that I was taking a part in. You got a whole group of motherfuckers, but only one person looking like the man. And that model doesn't work. So of course the success of it is mid tier at best, and it's not surprising because again it's about everybody looking like the man instead of people just each having a role and doing a thing. Like I tried to come up with a way that would make it so the balance would be equal as far as how people are spending, what they're investing, so that this way, those that have less can still invest into this business and have some stake in it the same way that those that are investing more can have some stake in it. But this way, everybody has a chance to meet up at the table the same way. I created a whole model. You think it was used? That's why, in that circumstance, I had to kind of not deal with that so much. I deal with it somewhat, but not as much as I was because I'm like, if I build something and I know I made my contributions, I expect things to go a certain fucking way. And they're only going to go that way if we all move on even footing. It shouldn't require you to say, oh, well, let me pull out this much money. And then all of a sudden now, what you got to say matters. No, we should be able to work together as people and have one voice, unified under one umbrella. But again, this is barring that people can put their egos to the side and just work together. This is one of the hardest things for black folk to do. They are the most proud, not having ass shit people I ever seen in my life. As you think what you got is shit, think about the person who's giving you what you have so that you do have the shit that you got. Think about how much they got. You ain't got shit compared to that. And none of your people do. And probably never will unless you decide to do things differently. Because you have to do shit to build yourself up so that you can be more successful. I promise you, you do that, you will see a difference in the way that shit goes down in your life. But it's going to take hard work. It's going to take consistency. I know. These are words, nobody wants to hear this shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to take hard work. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take effort. It's going to take having awareness. It's going to take actually working together. All these little things that seem like pulling teeth with you motherfuckers sometimes. This is what we need. So I'm going to wrap this. I hope that those that are working, because I know most of us are busy working like slaves. Like, you see me, I freelance. That's why I'm home today. I'm not home the whole day. I'm going to go work. But I didn't have to get up to crack ass and go work. Not today. But I worked my ass off. You know why? Because I don't have any generational wealth to live off of where I could just continue to bolster the businesses that were already put in place. So now I have to create it. It would be a lot easier if I didn't have to do it by myself. But the problem is, like I said, folk don't know how to work together. So here I am by myself, having to work 3 times as hard to do something that should be a lot easier. It's a shame because this story I'm telling is a story of most of us working class people. In closing, there was a video that I put up today, which I'm sure all one and a half of y'all looked at, and it was a talking about the economy, and it talked about how the working class people are constantly getting fucked by the government. That's very interesting to me. Well, actually, no, I have that wrong. What it is it says capitalism is busy fucking over the working class while the government is asleep. Because government ain't paying attention to that shit because it don't really fuck them up. But that capitalism is fucking you up. Yes, there are a lot of advantages to it, but I do feel like there needs to be a revamp in the way that this economy is designed because this economy is so top heavy that this shit about to fall over and it's getting worse. And understand, for those of you who don't know this, the reason why they keep these things hard like that is it is a way that the government is in cahoots with all these big banks and things out here. Because think about this, the better your credit score is, the less your interest rates are. But if financially you're having a hard time, you're struggling, whatever, now your credit score is going like this, and now interest rates are going up. So as your interest rates is going up, you find yourself paying more for that same item than this guy over here. And ironically, the guy over here that has the money, so his credit is good because he's paid everything off. He could actually afford to pay what you're paying easier than you are. But you're fucked with that because you you have shit credit. So now they like, oh, we can charge you a high interest rate. You people are getting screwed constantly. I remember how many times I go to Macy's, they offer me that horrible ass Macy's card. That card is terrible. I think the interest rate's like 22% or some shit. I'm like, are y'all dumb? No, I don't want that fucking card. But A lot of people get it and they all happy with their little card. Oh yes, look, I got my card. Yeah, it's very exciting. Listen, the moral of the story for this is for this video, let's put ourselves in a position to win. That means on all avenues. It has to happen across the board, politically, economically, socially, all of that. Like we have to do better. We have to do better in our homes, with our families. We have to do better when it comes to our friends and co-workers that we see, and we're all in this same struggle together. Because at the end of the day, the next victim of this social regression, of this systemic oppression that still exists today, could be you or somebody or that you care about. Don't wait till it's you or someone you care about to wake up, because then who knows who will actually be left to listen. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all. Peace out.